But when I was doing the engineering thing, at one point in 2002, I went to my 10-year high school reunion. And when I went to my 10-year high school reunion, I saw a high school that did not look like the high school I went to. Now, I went to high school in Long Island, and the reason I went to high school in Long Island was because my mother wanted to get us out of the Bronx to somewhere that was better than where we were, so that we could have the opportunity to do some things that we weren't supposed to do if you go by conventional wisdom. And so when I went back for my 10-year high school reunion, this place that had been paradise for me had things going on that you would have expected to happen in the Bronx. And to me, this was a problem. And so I wanted to find a way to get involved. But I was an engineer who was working 16-hour days, and so this wasn't really easy, especially considering I was working in Connecticut. And so I thought that maybe I could get involved by starting a program with some of my friends that would help the people at the school, because what I had discovered by being at the 10-year reunion was that one of the major problems was that the young people at the school didn't have people who they could talk to about issues, didn't have people who could guide them. And so I started a company to do electronic mentoring because we couldn't be there in person, and I went through a couple of years of trying to get this company off the ground. And I recognized that this was not working. And so a couple of things conspired to make me reassess my life. One of the things that happened was my company decided that I should go to Arkansas to do a project, and my wife decided that Arkansas was not a place she wanted to be. Yeah, I didn't really want to go to Arkansas either, but you know, it's what you do. The end of 2002, just before I left my company, I got into a car accident, and this was a pretty extreme car accident. And my wife didn't actually notice till like 2 weeks ago. But that car accident changed a lot for me. When the police officer came to talk to me about the car accident, he didn't actually know I was the person in the car, because he thought the person in the car should be dead, because the car was totaled. And when I'm standing there looking at the car and the police officer is telling me there's no way I was the person in the car, I start reassessing my life. Now, I had just gone through this whole process of wanting to help these young people, and that's important, but I really started to look at my life a little bit more and say, maybe there's a reason why I'm here, because I should probably be dead. And so as I'm going to school, we learn about this political science, some opportunities present themselves, and I start looking at these opportunities seriously. So I did this internship with my state representative, and he was a unique person. My state representative was somebody in politics who just said what was on his mind. Now, you know, politicians don't just say anything that's on their mind. He had a way of saying things that wasn't, he cursed a lot. And I spent a couple of years as a person on the street talking about issues and kind of railing against the Democratic Party. And so I became an activist and an organizer. And so I further didn't see myself in politics, because people who are in activism often don't see themselves inside those halls, right? You know, I'm an outsider and I'm calling you everything under the sun, but I am not the person in there. And I didn't have an answer for that. So I went away for a little while and thought about it. And then I understood, I came to understand that there was this clean election system, which would help me to get some money if I could qualify under the clean election system. So in Connecticut, we have this system where I was running for state representative. We have this system where if I could raise $5,000, which isn't a ton of money, if I could raise $5,000, I would be matched with $25,000, so I have a total of $30,000 to run. The way it works is you raise the $5,000 in contributions of between $5 and $100. 150 of the contributions have to be from within my district or a municipality attached to it. And so I'm thinking, this is not the hardest thing in the world to do? Great. It actually was more difficult than you would think. But what it also was, it was a great opportunity to have to go and talk to people and have to hear people's stories. And something that I've learned since doing, because while you're doing things, you don't always learn the lesson. But as I stepped back and paid a little more attention, one of the beautiful things about, at least the way it's constructed in Connecticut, is the $5 is worth as much as $100, because you have to make a certain number. And so I want your $5 as much as I want your $100. And so I would go to people's homes and I would stand there and talk to them for an hour, 2 hours, so I could get $5. Now, this is not the way politics works. The way politics works is we go and we have a fundraiser and we have people come and they bring us money, and you and your $5 means absolutely nothing. Your $100 doesn't really mean that much. But in Connecticut right now, $5 makes a big difference. $5 is the world to me because I need 150 people in that district. And everybody has to be between $5 and $100. And so the little old lady who's got her $5, who wants to talk to you about something you would otherwise not pay attention, you stand there and you pay attention to that little old lady. The guy on the street who's got $10 who wants to talk to you about something that you would never pay attention to, you talk to him. And so you get to the texture of politics is completely different than what it had been. I was able to be in the State House of Representatives, and Connecticut for a long time, my predecessor for a long time, had been trying to run a bill to abolish the death penalty. And he never could do it. And I came along as a freshman in the first year. I got it out of the House, which it had never been, and I got it out of the Senate, and unfortunately our governor didn't agree, so she vetoed it, but it had never moved that far. That wouldn't have happened without the clean election system. And you can go on and on and on about these things that never would have happened if you didn't have these people who came in under the clean election system. And there's a couple of other things that are different about the people who are there, because they're not the traditional people. We're not rich people. We're not people who had fathers and mothers in politics. We're just average citizens who want to make a change and can now make a change because there's a system in place to help us do that. You know, the clean election system is about more than just do we have clean elections. The clean election system is really about what our democracy looks like. It's really about, do we get to really change it? Do we get to really have transparency? Do we get to have the guy who's crazy on Twitter that people are laughing at that actually changes the politics of the state of Connecticut? Do we get to have the bills that come out that actually help people? Because we can't do that without this. We can't do that without people who really believe in these things and have the ability to do. I'm going to tell you one of the things I'm working on. I'm working on the achievement gap in Connecticut. And I can't work on the achievement gap in Connecticut without the clean election system, and I'll tell you why. Because people who would normally be my allies will be my enemies. And I can't work on this with those people as my enemies if they have to finance my campaign. And so if you don't understand anything else, you should understand that this is literally about life and death. You know, a friend of mine, Reverend Yearwood, who some of you may have seen, really says that this is the lunch counter moment, these bills that we're talking about at the federal level. It is. This is about civil rights. This is about, can you live, I was going to say can you live in a real democracy, but beyond that, it's about can you live. It is about, can some of the people in this room have the same access to things that other people in this room have? It's really that serious. I can't think of anything right now that's more important, because particular bills are important, but we can't get to those particular bills until we have a system that allows us to talk about things in a way that we haven't been able to do.